Hi everyone, it's Dorothy Vanderjack here again, and I have a guest with me today. I have Teresa McDougall, and she has a strong background in teaching and learning, and she's been a classroom teacher and instructional coach, and she helps many districts with curriculum. And we're just going to go over some leadership lessons today. I have an administrative background, so I wanted to pull in somebody with that strong teaching background that's more current than mine is. So we're going to go through leadership lessons today, and what we're going to focus on is making their day. So making your staff members' day. We're going to share 4 quick tips, and I'm going to let Teresa begin.
The first thing is we know how important it is when you greet your children at the door and calling them by name. The teachers appreciate that too. So try starting out your day greeting 3 to 5 of your teachers every day at lunchtime or when they leave, just saying thank you. It's important to know that you appreciate them walking through that door every day.
Absolutely, and they feel valued and just know that you care. Another tip, number 2, that we'd like to share is notes to staff. I would write little notes and put in their mailbox just things that they've done that I've seen that are great, or they're full of sunshine. Some of them just had that relationship with students. It was great. Another thing that I did that really staff appreciated, and I didn't even realize how much they would appreciate this, is I would handwrite notes on specific examples or things about them that I really liked. They kept me organized. Some of my teachers would, and I'd put that in there and say, I love your organization, thanks for keeping me on track, and I'd mail it to their home. I had so many people get really emotional about that because they said in years they hadn't received a nice handwritten note. It was always in the form of an email or a text or something. So I did that. And another thing that I did it took me a while, Thanksgiving. I wouldn't do it every year because it took a lot of time, but it was very meaningful. I'd say things that I was thankful for about them during that holiday time, and I would mail it to their home again, and they really appreciated that. I would say I'm thankful for the relationships you have with those struggling students. That really helps our entire school. So just things like that, and the staff love those personal notes home.
I know it was important for me. I still have a file of notes that I have received from my principals. Instead of the notes saying, please see me at lunchtime, these were notes that really showed me that the principal cared and was paying attention to the other things that I was doing.
So, one more, I have to share this. I just interrupted her, but this is important. When I was a high school senior, my superintendent sent me a handwritten note in the mail, and actually it was addressed to my parents and said, we're so proud of Dorothy, and some examples. And I still have that note today from my superintendent when I was 18 years old. We won't talk about how old I am.
And it is important, those personal notes. We know that. So that leads us to the next tip, is that teachers want to know that you care about them on a personal level. We need to really try to build that culture again of a sense of caring and community. And so to do that, as you're paying attention to those things that they're doing in the classroom, pay attention to what's going on in their lives too. I've had many teachers who have just expressed, thank you for even asking about how I'm doing at home or how my kids are doing, and highlighting those special interests. If you have a teacher who goes skydiving or scuba diving, like we do, it's nice to have that highlighted, or just have someone say, hey, did you know that so-and-so was going to go backpacking this weekend, and they're not going to have their cell phone with them?
Absolutely. That's great. They love those personal connections. Another tip we'd like to share with you is the fact that highlight something in those classrooms. And this has a dual purpose here. When you're an administrator, you want to model good behavior and good examples and good teaching, and you know who those strong teachers are. So something that they're doing that's excellent in their classroom, and it might be one of your teachers that maybe not your superstar either, but you see some good formative assessment or you see some good feedback, and you could share that with the staff. So send a note out in your week's events that say, hey, Kim utilized this strategy, and we really think that it would be helpful to maybe your classroom. That staff has so much pride that you shared something when you were actually in that classroom, because you're going in those classrooms and observing. You might as well share good practice with the entire staff. So we think that's very critical to do.
So let's recap the tips that we've shared tonight. We've shared that greet your teachers at the door and welcome them to the classroom, or sending them off for the day and saying thank you and have a great evening.
Absolutely. And the notes home, the personal connections with those notes home.
And we said pay attention to those little things. So paying attention to the teachers' lives, those personal lives and the personal accomplishments.
And highlight good practice in those classrooms and get it out to all staff, because that's what you want. You want success for all those students. That's what you're going for. So we really appreciate you tuning in today for our leadership lessons, and we'll be sending more your way.
Thank you.